Hello and welcome to HITC Sport, and yes, I am back, and yes, I realise how red I am. I mean, I'm not even ginger. Step outside in the sun for 2 minutes and this happens. But yeah, I know, I ducked out for a couple of days, and nobody even noticed I was gone. To be fair, it was Friday evening, and I was sitting in there watching a reserve match in a World Cup where the highlight was Michy Batshuayi kicking the ball into his own face, and I realised, why am I watching this? Southgate and Martinez said before the game, oh no, we want to win the game, don't worry, we want to finish top. No, I'm sorry, but the existence of Adnan Januzaj and the shit hazard on the pitch say the opposite. But while I'm touching on England, can I just say, I've seen a lot of talk recently of,
oh thank Christ we're on the easy side of the draw, semi-finals for sure.
Paul Merson even said he'd be shocked if England didn't make the semi-finals. Are you serious? I mean, yes, Paul Merson does look like he's just wandered out of the local mental hospital, but still, where is this misplaced arrogance coming from? Am I missing something, lads? Plotting your route to the final? Lads, you haven't been in a semi-final in 28 years. But anyway, we have the knockout rounds underway, and this is where things get really tense. This is what the World Cup is all about. Instead of sitting at home watching Panama stick 10 players and their tea lady behind the ball, instead we get to see some, nice attacking football. And the France-Argentina last 16 game certainly delivered. Kylian Mbappe might just be the best teenage talent since Lionel Messi. Like, what do you think? Who is the most exciting teenager at the moment? Stay out of this, Adam, but I know most of you will scream,
oh, what about Cristiano Ronaldo?
Many of you might not remember that, while yes, Ronaldo was capable of turning defenders' ankles into wet spaghetti, he also did so many f***ing stepovers his legs started to look like a f***ing windmill. Wouldn't be surprised if half the time his teammates wanted to throw him under a f***ing city bus. But Mbappe ran the show. The kid who once had posters of Ronaldo decorating his room, he tore into the RGs. So I'm sorry, but what is their defense? That defense is an absolute shambles. Fazio, I thought football was done with him after his Tottenham disaster. Tim Sherwood must be scratching his head on the sidelines, wondering how all his flops have somehow made it to the World Cup while he's sweeping condom packets down the local M50 or whatever he's doing to keep himself busy, because God knows it isn't management. When Kylian Mbappe was born in December 1998, Michael Owen was the white Pele. Ha! Bewitched were #1 on the charts, and Cameron Diaz had spunk in her hair. For me, that's just a daily occurrence. So he goes down in the box under a challenge after a driving run. Antoine Griezmann tucks that one away with ease, because as we all know, that man likes to do things with minimal fuss, except when he's negotiating contracts, in which case he'll hire a documentary crew to follow him around his house for 3 weeks. So Argentina, they crawled through the group stage after having been battered and bruised. They were basically hanging by a thread coming into this game. Surely this was the end for them now, right? But it looked that way until Angel Di Maria slammed one into the top corner just before halftime. I have not seen him look as happy since he was freed from the Malfoy house. It was a goal so insane that I was legitimately worried for Diego Maradona's health. The poor f***er spent the last week balancing offensive gestures with near probable cardiac arrest. I mean probably, I'm not a doctor. What gave me away? Can you imagine if Messi follows in his footsteps in 30 years and suddenly he's knocking back vodka, smoking cigars, and hitting on any young one that walks within 20 meters of him? I'm pretty sure he'd have to snap like f***ing Jack Nicholson from The Shining. Maybe if he loses another Ballon d'Or. I think we're already starting to see the cracks, considering he already painted his leg black and tried to look like Justin Bieber, even though he's in his early 30s. So what was going to happen? Argentina were going to regroup in the dressing room at halftime, shove Joe Rogan out of the way. Lionel Messi was going to lead the halftime team talk. Well, whatever was said and whoever said it, it worked for about 8 minutes. Messi fired in a shot, it deflected off Mercado, who honest to God sounds like he belongs in a f***ing biscuit tin rather than at a World Cup. So France, who haven't really played well at this tournament, this was their biggest challenge yet. This is their first test, and we have VAR, so no using handball, you cheating b****. I really need to get over that. Fernandez fires over a cross, and it's met by Benjamin Pavard, who crashes in a volley. This fella is only 22. He has a handful of caps. He plays for Stuttgart. Mark Lawrenson thinks he's shit, so obviously he must be one of the best young players in the game. 2 more goals, then just put the nails in the coffin for the RGs. Both from Mbappe. Dear Christ, that fella is something else, lads. Before Argentina sort of just give up, really. They sort of just kind of decompose in front of us. It's really sad to see. Honestly, this is the worst Argentina team I've seen in my life. And I'm not that old. Okay, they've arguably got the most talented forward line in the world, but it is the most top-heavy squad I've ever seen in my life. It's like the Stewie Griffin of football. Yes, Messi, Aguero, Higuain, Dybala, yeah, that's great. They still put on Pavon, but what do they have in midfield? Ever Banega, the webcam specialist, Javier Mascherano, who has been ushered into international retirement now, and now gets to see out the rest of his days living in a country where his teammates can't understand him, and he gets to be coached by a guy who just finished bottom of the championship. That is bizarre, actually. Chris Coleman was on course to be managing against Walsall and Rochdale this season, but instead he's making millions coaching Javier Mascherano, who'll probably be doing his best not to burst out laughing whenever he speaks, although he's already had to endure Alan Pardew, so I'm sure he'll be fine. I don't know what's happened to Argentine football, but it's quite sad, really. And it's quite sad that it's ended for Messi like this, but I mean, it's not his fault that he's playing in a terrible team. If he had the likes of Ayala, Sorin, Riquelme, Heinze, players who would die for the cause rather than f***ing Tagliafico, who sounds like he belongs in a pasta, then I think things would be a bit different. Even Maxi Rodriguez would be better than some of the shite served up these days. Anyway, Sergio Aguero came on and grabbed a late consolation. So really, France should be worried they conceded 3. I mean, Argentina could only score 1 against an amateur film director, but you know. But France march on and they play Uruguay in the quarterfinals. After they sent Cristiano Ronaldo packing. It was a big day for the Portuguese, and Ronaldo always seems to take these defeats rather badly.
I'll kill myself if Portugal doesn't win.
Well lads, Uruguay were on it. Like Argentina, this is a real team. World class up front, world class at the back. Just ignore the midfield, but the rest of it, great. Edinson Cavani opened the scoring when he smashed home with his face after being picked up by Luis Suarez inside the box. Terrific play. I mean, the Portuguese then probed and pressed. Ronaldo just kind of thought, I'm better than all of you useless players, and just tried to keep shooting from about 30 yards out. Did not work. Pepe did equalise in the second half, despite him being the most hateful man on the planet. But Uruguay weren't to be denied. Cavani curling home a beautiful goal into the bottom corner do send these South Americans absolutely wild. And I guess that's the end of Ronaldo's claim for the Golden Boot, because let's face it, Jose Font was never going to win the World Cup. Anyway, that's all I got time for, lads. Join me tomorrow, we got some mouth-watering games coming up. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, give it a share, and a subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.